Everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. Today, I want to speak a little bit about divine timing and what this divine timing exactly is. It almost seems like, it is something which the divine or the outer, universe or like some divinely being or angels and guides are deciding on our behalf what is the correct timing for us. So we feel that is divine timing. But I am realizing more and more, in my twin flame journey and personally also in just normal life, because a point comes in your twin flame journey when you really shift out of, making everything about your twin flame and you start looking at your own life, and your own journey processes. The healing that you're going through is now much larger than just for your twin flame journey. Even the inner work that you do, it is so like, oh, I really want to have this goal, so I'm going to start working on myself. But a time comes where you will shift out of this and you'll be like, no, I want to do this because I am the one having my experience within this body, and I want to have a wonderful experience of my life. I no longer want to have that heavy sad experience. And the more my awareness is rising, the more I am realizing who I am and what kind of an experience I want to have in this life. All right. So, when you start to shift like this and you start looking at this concept of divine timing, both these things are important, because you will realize that within your healing journey, there had been a time, for every healing to take place in your life. For instance, so many years ago, I wanted to start healing my mother wound. And I did everything, I could for many, many years. First of all, I realized, okay, I have this wound, and I really had a sense of, anger and irritation towards my mother and hatred as well, because I was like, how could she have hurt me like this? All these years of my childhood, all the memories, so all that pain, like, how could a mother be like this? Because mothers are supposed to be, amazing and loving and affectionate and all of that. And I had this whole huge, sense of betrayal and abandonment from my mother, right? And not like eventual, not event based abandonment, but perpetual, abandonment, perpetual betrayal. So it was very, very hard for me, and it took a huge toll on my sense of self. And my self esteem was inside, there was no self esteem for me. There was a huge ego that I had built, and lots of activities that I used to do to just feel that sense of, self. And I was very identified with my identities of my career, my intelligence or this and that, and whatever I thought was, my USP, so to speak. I was very, very identified with it, and it made me a very narrow tunnel visioned person, because I could never see other human beings beyond my criteria that I had used to judge myself. So this was the criteria that I extended to everybody. So when I wanted to start healing it at the age of 23, 24, when I first realized it, that this is a wound that I have, and many years it took me to just be in anger, after the realization. And after that, I tried really hard. I tried therapy, and I tried reading about it, and I tried, various videos that I saw. I started to experiment with it deep within me, but the wound would just not go away. It always existed. So with time, what started to happen was that maybe the triggers that were 100 probably started to come down to 70 or 80, but they were still there, right? Because of meditation, maybe the triggers came down to 40 or 50, but 40 or 50 is also a lot. Imagine, 40 times out of 100, you are getting triggered, with how the situation is. And then on top of that, a problem that you have, which comes from childhood, which comes from a wound like this, it tends to have its tentacles spread out in various other areas of your life. Self esteem, that I spoke of, was one. My career choices were second. My sense of looking at myself was third. My relationship with my body, my relationship with my mind, my relationship with my sexuality, my relationship with other people, my friends, all the friendships that I had had that had felt like betrayal were a reflection of this. So, to make sense of those friendships individually, standalone, as well as in relation to what they were mirroring back to me with regards to the wound I had carried, and the relationships with my ex partners and all of that. And similarly, at one point in time, I actually had to I've mentioned this in one of the other readings that I got a soul matrix reading done, and it just happened to me by chance. I felt very, very inclined towards that reading. Somebody, whom I knew had mentioned about, these people and all of that. And I suddenly felt very drawn to these people, and I saw their website, and then I just booked this reading, and it had a 2 month, 3 month long, waiting period. But finally I got the reading done, and I didn't know what it was going to be, but it ended up explaining so much about my past life to me, and my relationship with my mother was finally unraveled, and it that mystery was solved for me as to why it was like that. It came from a past life, my own karma, of course, where I had hurt her in some ways, and this is the way my soul chose in this lifetime to feel the other side of it. So, anyway, that started to make a lot of sense to me, and it somewhere gave me a lot of courage, now, and it gave me that explanation, that closure that I needed as to why this had happened to me. And the other thing is that all of these years in my 20s, when I was trying to heal, I was trying to release, I was really not ready to heal and release. Because, like I said, the tentacles were so spread out that all of these other things also had to be looked at. It's like you're crumbling a facade of sorts. Like, now suddenly I can explain all of my bad relationships, which were pretty much all of them, all of my friendships going bust, and my entire like childhood, all 30 years of my life just feeling very heavy, painful, sad, and extremely disconnected from everything, not able to relate to anybody. When was the point when I was going to be ready to finally see all of this? It was only and only after I had had some spiritual maturity in me. If I had not worked on myself and not developed any kind of a spiritual maturity in me, it would never, ever, ever have, you know, been the right time for me to finally look at this whole thing at like the huge mountain that it was. And trust me, I wasn't shown this huge mountain, to begin with. I was shown small problems. So self-esteem wound was the first thing I started working on. Then my ex, relationships with my exes that had damaged me a lot. Friendships, and slowly and gradually I was brought to the point where I was able to see the source of it. Then I was able to explore, the cause of the source also. And then I was able to go deeper and deeper and, start to release all of this. So it was almost like the divine, you could say, or my higher self, or just my soul, I don't know, or all of them combined, because all of them are the same essentially. They were making me ready to come to that point where I can finally see the whole mountain and the tentacles and all of that for what they are and not be impacted by it. But imagine if I had been shown this at that age of 24, when for the first time I realized I had this wound, and I was so heavily invested in my ego at the time, I would run away from it like anything. I would be like, this mammoth task, I will never be able to get over it. This wound, is going to rule my life forever. So this is divine timing. That the divine knows, or your higher self knows, when you are going to be ready for what. When you're going to really be able to let go of that wound. And all of this is not such a linear process either, because so much of your spiritual maturity and growth happens to you that now the source of your love and, the source of your validation that you had placed on the outside, you reclaim that source within you. And you even go a step beyond it, and you start to see everything that is playing out as an illusion, a beautiful illusion. Because truly this is in India, Lord Krishna, I think he's so famous around the world. He was famous for creating these situations for people, where people would learn lessons in these situations. So this was called Leela, wherein, he created these fabulous stories, right? And even now, when we celebrate his birth anniversary and all of that, there are Leelas, done, meaning, the elaborate illusion, the elaborate story where you get so invested, you think it's all true. So much spiritual maturity to be able to see this as a story, that is playing out, and you are a mere observer of this story. It's really not impacting your spiritual space deep within you. Your soul is unsullied. your soul is untainted. The worst crimes can happen to people, and women know what horrible crimes can happen to women, children, and even men for that matter. We don't know, the most horrific things can happen, but the soul is not impacted. Even when you leave the body, you're not the body. Like, I think I've shared this before as well in one of my videos. I can't remember which one, but I spoke of this, that how this sense of we are not the body, so whatever happens to the body does not happen to us. We are not the mind, so whatever happens to the mind does not happen to us, is such a profound realization, because you experientially feel it, that you're experientially not this. It's not something that is being taught to you, that is just being peddled, as religious or spiritual wisdom, but it is your experiential reality when you meditate, when you go deeper, when you connect with nature, when you connect with your higher self, you connect with your guides, and you start to realize, yes, I'm none of this. This is just an experience I'm having. Let me not get very identified with this illusion, Let me always keep it at a distance from me. Whatever is my karma, like, trust me, I got that soul matrix reading done and I felt my karma was so bad. I had to suffer so much for it. But this is when I make sense of it from the point of view of how this is all just a game. I've come to experience life now in this body, then in some other lives in other bodies, playing other roles, with different people or the same set of people in different roles. Then let me just see it as that Leela that it is. It's a divine creation. It's a divine play. Like how Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage. It's essentially just that. Shakespeare got it completely. He did. And we are mere actors. So let's not take it very seriously, And this is why great spiritual masters will always say, do not take life seriously, do not take it seriously, and you will always see a lightness in their own being. How such great spiritual masters are so light, and they joke, and they play around and all of that. It is because this life is meant to not be taken so seriously, right? The only thing real is your infinite being within you, that you are connected to everything, you're one with everything. This separation that we see, me separate from you, and all of that, even that is a huge illusion, because we all come from the same source. We are embodying that source within us. So this is such a potent realization that I had, and I realized this is divine timing. All right, this is the real divine timing, that we speak of, that we want to uncover, that we want to know. And now you can try to make sense of it with regards to your journey as well, especially your healing journey, that your healing will happen at the right time, when you are ready. And who will decide when you're ready? Your soul will know when you're ready. You will know that, the enormity of a lesson that you're learning, or the enormity of the wisdom. You will have to be a receptacle good enough to hold that enormity, right? When you are not that good enough to be able to hold that enormity of the wisdom that is dawning upon you, it will destroy you, right? So it's just like that. It's like, I can't think of a good example right now, but what comes to me is, let us say, that there is a river, which flows, and during rainfall and monsoon seasons, or rainy seasons, it just floods completely, right? So what you try to build is like a dam which is just perfect, or good enough for that flooding, to happen. It's like that. This is the body, the mind, the ego, so to speak, is like the dam that you're building, or the lessons that you learn, so that the flood of wisdom that comes in, you're really able to contain it and hold it and not get destroyed in the process. All right? It's incredibly important that you see it like this, that you trust the divine timing, you trust your higher self will unfold everything for you. And do not worry, do not be in a state of fear, because fear is the greatest enemy, in our life, in our journey as well. Especially we learn fear is what comes from ego, fear is what comes from the mind, which is focused on survival. But you are none of that. So do not tune into the channel of fear, but tune out and tune into your infinite consciousness and say, I'm okay the way I am. I will be able to handle what comes my way. Right now, I handle everything that comes my way. And the universe looks after me. So whatever the hell may happen, something great happens, something bad happens, I will handle it. I will handle it. All right? Have that much courage within you. So I hope this was helpful, guys. So trust the divine timing. It is basically for your own good. It is a deeper wisdom. It aligns with your readiness, essentially, the maturity that you have, the spiritual, bodily, mental maturity, as well as, the maturity of your life circumstances, the maturity of the situations around you as well. Another example, that I just want to, if the dam and the river example wasn't as good, it just hit me right now. Like, imagine when you're children, and if you had to ever deal with the responsibilities of adult life, like paying your bills and, making money happen and, building a house or whatever it is, or just working a job, working under a boss and all of that. No, because you're a child, whatever, yoke you're given at the time, as I think it's even written in the Bible as well, that whatever, burdens you receive are the burdens you're capable of carrying, and only in sort of in congruence to your ability, to carry that burden is how you will be given that burden, right? So when you're a child, you're only given childish burdens, right? When you're an adult, it's then that, you have more burdens and more things to do, multitasking and all of that, because you're more capable. It's something very similar here. You have to be spiritually capable to heal and to release, the wounds that you have, and to even invite in your union will need a certain spiritual maturity within you. All right, so just go with the flow, and keep working on yourself. Keep that fire alive inside of you to heal yourself, to go beyond this. Meditation is such an incredible way when you develop that presence within you, which disconnects you from the body and mind. It can even prove to be an incredible tool for the healing of your inner child, and healing of your ego, and healing all of these wounds. So, this is all I wanted to speak to you about today. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. And if you need any assistance on this journey, you can book a one-on-one session with me. My email address is imacompletelife@gmail.com. It will also be shown on your screen. It will be in the description box. You can reach out to me for sessions with regards to your twin flame journey, your personal healing journey. You need any support with regards to the inner work, inner child healing, or with regards to balancing yourself for the twin flame journey, or anything with regards to chakras and all of that. I'd be very happy to assist you to the best of my ability. It's an affordable session. I'll see you in the next podcast video. Bye bye.